Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschita Desha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Today we are discussing Bhagavad-gita chapter 2 text 22. I'll read the verse and purport. Okay. Verse Vasamsi Janani Yatha Vihaya Navani Gurnati Naro Parani Tatha Sharirani Vihaya Jirnani Anyani Samyati Navani Dehi. Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in a previous verse, chapter 2, text 13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundak Upanishad as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another or from one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundak Upanishad 3.1.2 and Shvetashvatara Upanishad confirm 4.7 confirm this. Samani vakshe purusho nimagno nishaya shochati muhyamanaha jushtham yada pashyati anyam isham asya mahimanam iti vita shokaha. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend who is the Lord and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face toward his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad-gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of the reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on a sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of the bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. In this verse, the theme of body, the self as the soul, is continuing, as it will in the next few verses, because we are in the Sankhya Yoga section of Bhagavad-gita. In Vedic culture, the leader is supposed to understand these points very clearly, and he's supposed to represent God. He's supposed to represent the mission of God. So he should know what is the mission of God, why the living entities have come into this world, and who are the living entities. They are souls. So he should understand that, and he should represent God in terms of the mission of this material world, which means he should know Shastra. And therefore, he is respected for that. He should be respected. So, for example, the king, the parent, the guru, all these people are supposed to represent God. They are leaders in some capacity or the other. So they're supposed to protect and guide their subordinates. Okay, guide. What does guide mean? Guide them to sense gratification, to wealth, to money? No. They're supposed to guide them towards self-realization. Realization of ourselves as an eternal soul and servant of God. That's not an easy thing. That requires sometimes many lifetimes. And it requires proper study and facility. The nation should give that facility. The government should give that facility. The king should give that facility. The parent, the guru, all the leaders should give the facility for people to practice self-realization, because they are representative of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme. He's under whom we are subordinate. So if someone takes on a position as a guide in human society, as I mentioned, as a king, as a parent, as a guru, as a leader, then he's taking that position. He's supposed to represent Krishna. So the leaders have a great responsibility. This is what they're meant to do. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam actually says not to become a guru, a parent, a mother, father, or any position of responsibility if we are not able to guide our subordinates properly. Namo chayet samupet mrityum. It begins, na guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, pati na sasyat. Like this, it goes on. Don't be a king, don't be a parent, don't be mother, don't be father, don't be a leader. Namo chayet samupet mrityum. If you cannot save your dependents from the cycle of birth and death, from death basically, then Bhagavatam said, do not become a leader. Do not take that position. This is very clear. Okay, now in the modern day, we can forget about them guiding us, but let's talk about if they know. Do they know this knowledge? Do the leaders know what is the goal of life? Why we came to this planet? No, they don't know. They don't know themselves, so they're posing as leaders. They're posing as teachers, but they don't know what is meant to be taught. So Prabhupada called them not teachers, cheaters. They're cheaters, because someone is posing as a scientist. He doesn't know anything about science and how he can, who is God. Really, he doesn't know. They're bluffing so much. What is what is consciousness? What is the self? What is life? They don't know. Okay, cheaters. In the school, where they say, we'll give you education, put the child in the school, give him a good education. And what is education? How to become a polished animal, basically. So one might say, why are you calling animal? These are humans. Yes, they're humans with suit and tie. So actually they're not. If you see the behavior and the consciousness, it's animal consciousness. So they're polished animals. Okay, so because their behavior and their intellectual level is not on the level of humans, their consciousness. Human life is supposed to be, there's a certain purpose for it. What is the goal? Now, this is given in Prahlad Maharaj speaks this very strictly. We are going to look at a particular verse now from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, now in Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says this verse. Nate vidu swadgatim hi Vishnum durashaya ye bahirarthamanina andhayathandhe rupaniyamanas te pishatantriya murudamni baddaha. Translation: persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life and who have therefore accepted as their leader or guru a similar blind man attached to external sense objects, cannot understand the goal of life is to return home, back to Godhead, and engage in the service of Lord Vishnu. As blind men guided by another blind man miss the right path and fall into a ditch, materially attached men led by another materially attached man are bound by the ropes of fruitive labor, which are made of very strong cords, and they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. Okay, the first line, Nate vidu swart gatim hi Vishnu. They don't know that the goal of life, and so artha means the best benefit for them, the path with the best benefit. The path with the best benefit is Vishnu. They don't know. And Durashara, ye bahirartha manina. They have taken due to durashaya, I mean they're having material desires, ashaya, but durashaya, not the desire for self-realization. Ye bahir artha manina. They have accepted this external manifestation, bahir, as the real thing, but it's not. Why? Andhayathandhe rupaniyamanas. They have accepted as a leader, somebody who is blind, and they are blind. Okay, so because it says that ishatantrayam urudamni, because they are entrapped by consciousness of enjoying material life, okay, and they have and therefore accepted as their leader a guru who's similarly blind, and and cannot understand that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead. Yeah. So basically, they have accepted someone who's blind, and themselves they are blind. Okay, so they don't know that the goal of life is to return home back to Godhead and engage in service of Vishnu. So what is the phenomena here? Just as a blind man leads another blind person, so that's what's happening here. That the leaders are blind, they don't know, the people are blind, and so they're going to fall into a ditch. So this is the situation in the modern day, that this verse is speaking about the soul, but no one has a clue about this topic. And so they are accepted a leader. They're telling, okay, you are our leader. Can you guide us to happiness? Can you guide us to perfection, to peace? Can you guide us to, maybe you can say, even some accept for spirituality. Can you guide us for spirituality? But who did they choose? Someone who doesn't know the path. So in the modern day, this is the situation. People have taken shelter of political leaders or blind spiritual leaders. And so that leader is blind. He'll eventually end up dying and remaining in the cycle of birth and death. And he'll lead everyone there. Okay, and why is that? Because these leaders are also bound by the ropes of fruitive labor. They are also, they still have karma. Basically, for one to have devotional service, our karma should be zero, the karmic reactions. So, but they're still having material desires. So because of that, they're still bewildered. And they continue again and again in materialistic life, suffering the threefold miseries. These people, they don't understand that the goal of life is self-realization. So the situation is like this. And people are frustrated. They keep electing new people, but the people they elect, they are also incompetent. Many times, Prabhupada explains that when this is a democracy, so when some completely wrong leader takes over and creates havoc, so at that time, Prabhupada says that, you see, these people have only themselves to blame. Why did they elect him? Why did they elect these people? They shouldn't even vote if there's no one who's qualified. So they keep taking shelter of different leaders, and these leaders are supposed to help them. Okay, but they're not doing that. Actually, leaders cannot help themselves. They don't know the goal of life. They don't know why they came on this planet. And so why do we accept them as leaders? So people have to be very careful. People have to understand this point. There's a story of, in Bhaktisiddhanta Bible, this book, by His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami. In that book, it's mentioned that once someone got elected in a position in Bengal, and in a public meeting, one of the Gaudiya Math, younger Gaudiya Math members, he stood up and said, this fellow cannot be a leader. He's breaking all the 4 regulative principles. He explained one by one. And then everyone listened to him, and he explained in that meeting why we are supposed to keep these regulative principles. It's the pillar of religion, of civilization. So then the leader heard that. He said, yes, you're right. So he said, I'm going to change. And really, he changed. So this is a story that happened. Now, people have to be wary of this point, that if you're going to accept a leader, this is how he should be. So devotees in future, of course, Prabhupada said not to vote, because we'll take on the karma of the people who are sinning under that leader, because he's not stopping them from sinning. And we helped him to come into that position. So because of that, we are going to get in heavy reaction. But not only that, but also the point that voting is not, this is not the system. These people are not qualified. They are all sinful. Okay, but if we are going to vote, if we are going to bring someone in power, but he must know these principles. He must rule by Bhagavad-gita, as Ikshvaku did, as Yudhishthira and Parikshit Maharajas, as they did, as the sun god did, so many people. So this is something that we have to spread. At least we should know this, that if the leaders are not on following a proper spiritual path of Bhagavad-gita, of the Vedas, then we cannot take shelter of them. That is a leader. So now we can see how this modern civilization, being based on sense gratification, is practically slaughtering the souls. It is slaughtering. Because what happens? People they accept this leader, and the leader, they organize this society, education, everything. And the people in this atheistic system, they end up losing their inclination for self-realization, and they end up being bombarded by so many different adverts and showing 4 regulative principles being broken, and TV ads, all these things, sense gratification allurements, which turn them away from their spiritual path. This all begins with the modern education system. The modern education system is supposed to teach, education means learning about soul. Of course, we don't learn that. But rather they'll teach atheistic worldview of nature working on its own. There's no God anywhere, not in physics, not in chemistry, not in biology, no God. But the worst thing Prabhupada said is that the men and women, I would say boys and girls, are associating freely in the college, and that ruins both of their lives. And in a letter he wanted to give to Indira Gandhi, he gave this point that at least you separate the colleges for girls and boys. Okay, this is how it destroys everything. So first of all, when young boys and girls are together, they're not going to study. They're all going to be interested in each other. Then what happens? Then the boys, they're supposed to develop in brahmacharya and strength and willpower, but immediately they start wasting their semen. Then they get weakness of mind and body, and they get become women hunters. Okay, that is ruined. They ruin their lives right in the college, even if they had a good upbringing till then. And parents don't know. They just think, oh, he has to get a good education. Let's put him in the college. And what is a good education? Okay, then, and the girls' side, girls are meant to learn chastity. They're meant to learn to live and serve with one husband, one boy, but in the college, women are by nature naive, so they end up having so many boyfriends, and unfortunately maybe some abortions. And so by the time they get married, it's difficult to stay with one man. How will they forget those other boys? It's horrible. So this is, Prabhupada said, the modern education system is like a slaughterhouse. It's completely ruined the spiritual propensity, let alone spiritual, the moral direction, compass of people is ruined. Okay, this is the society of sense gratification. This is the education system it produced. So it starts with education, okay, but then everything else, the whole idea in this modern civilization of the state, of the country, is to facilitate sense gratification in business, in economy, in politics, social, society. The whole point is to facilitate sense gratification. Okay, there's a whole entertainment industry which has deluded people completely. People are living this artificial life of following some movies and some film stars, and like this, their mind and body is not engaged for spiritual purposes. There's too much emphasis on all these media things. Okay, especially in the entertainment industry, there's this pornography and things like that. Again, this has ruined people and led to crimes against women and made people artificially lusty. Okay, they're not like this in village before, when there's no TV or media or phones. This was not how it was. So leaders are not, one reason that they do this, people are entertained with so much sports, movies and all that, is so people don't ask questions. Traditionally, young people in colleges, they're behind most revolutions in the country, in the world. They'll ask questions, they'll wonder, because they're thinkers, they're in the college, they're thinking, they're studying, and they come up with the point that why is this like this? Why are we doing this? And then there's a revolution or there's some opposition. So, but now it's not like that, because they're so much absorbed in their cricket and movies and things which are complete waste of time for human life. And because of that, they're not asking any questions to the leaders or this defective system. Okay, and things like alcohol. Alcohol, we know, is a poison. It's ruining lives. It not only is not good for the human body. I hear that the brain cells are destroyed, liver is destroyed. Okay, and families are ruined. We've read that many times in the news, how violence because of alcohol. But government is not removing it. Why? Because it's one of the biggest earners of money for the government. Right now in the lockdown, everything's closed, but not the alcohol stores. I mean, they're doing home delivery, at least here in Karnataka. So this is the situation in a materialistic modern civilization, so-called civilization, which is completely ignorant of goal of life. This should be exposed, and we should all understand where we are. What is this? Don't be under any illusion where we are. Okay, so we find that the biggest, of course, society is filled with cheats and rogues and thieves, but the biggest ones somehow find themselves in the government. What kind of society is that? Half of the people, they have criminal records and cases of assault and other worse offenses, and they're in government. So people are being taught in schools, colleges, and general society, like every parent tells the child, you work hard, earn money, become rich. But what for? Why? Because the parent themselves, they live that life. They know that it's not a path to happiness, but they're forcing, chewing the chewed. When we take a sugar cane, there's no juice, it's already been in the machine. And then someone says, I want to get some rust, and then eats it. You cannot eat it. There's no juice. There's nothing. So similarly, people know, they went through their whole life, that if people are going to live a materialistic life, then it's not going to be happy. Parents know, everyone knows, but still they put their child, everyone, again to go through this system. So people are taught, work hard, earn money, then enjoy life. I know one temple president in Tamil Nadu. He was saying that his father told him that he was complaining, why are you in ISKCON? Why are you in ISKCON? And he said, and one day he told the father, look, at least I'm not taking drugs, I'm not taking alcohol, I'm not chasing after women. You should be happy. And then father said, I don't care. No, you do that. It's okay. You can go after drugs and alcohol and all this, as long as you don't follow this thing. And then he understood. He said, oh, this is how their mood. So then he left. He left after that. So people are taught to work hard and enjoy sense gratification till the end of their lives. They're not being taught anything more. Just enjoy till the end of your life. There's nothing about that at the end you have to renounce sannyas, proper realization. No. Okay, so this is not human life. Humans are given higher body, high intelligence. This is not the life we're meant to be leading. Humans are given higher brain power to study the Vedas and contemplate the meaning, okay, and to realize the transcendental knowledge, realize God, realize the self. We're meant to do this. We're not meant to work day and night like hogs and dogs. Instead, these intelligent brains of people and abilities they use for IT, business, simply to increase their eating, sleeping, and mating facility. Eating, sleeping, mating. So a human being might think, now I got a good job, I got a lot of money, I got a big house. And he's sleeping on his bed and he's thinking, I am very fortunate. Okay, but actually on the street, the dog is also sleeping. When the dog falls asleep and when that man falls asleep, there's no difference in the quality of sleep. It's the same. So why did he struggle? Okay, what about eating? Human being might think, I got a very good job, so much money. I can eat paneer and gulab jamun and dosa. I can cook in ghee. I'm so fortunate. And he's enjoying that food. But the pig who is eating stool on the road, actually he's enjoying it. If you give him gulab jamun or halwa, he won't take it. He'll go for the stool. He's enjoying his food. So you think you're enjoying more than the animal. We're not. It's the same enjoyment. Okay, eating, sleeping, and of course, sex. Actually, human beings very disadvantaged in sex. Like, for example, like monkeys, pigeons, they can have sex much more times, they can enjoy much more. Definitely, this is not the body to be if you want to enjoy sex. So maybe next slide, they'll be given that. So we can see that these activities which we are so much struggling to improve, it's the same, it's same animal level, actually. It's not different. You see, dogs are running around on the roads with 4 legs. And they're looking for same thing, eating, sleeping, and sex. They're looking for that. So same thing, the human being. He's not going on 4 legs. He's going on 4 wheels in the car. But the same thing. He might think, I'm better when the dog is there on the road running. I'm in a car. Yes, but you're same, you're an animal, just like that animal. Because you're looking for the same thing. Okay, that he's on 4 legs, you're on 4 wheels, or maybe 2 wheels in India, they use 2-wheelers. Same business, how to get sense gratification. The Vedas are given to human society so that they can get transcendental knowledge for liberation. Only humans can do this, animals cannot. So why are we not doing what we are supposed to do? Transcendental knowledge can be acquired by study of Veda and coming to the Sattvic platform to understand the subtle meanings. For that, it requires a certain kind of life and purity of mind and consciousness. And for that, we have to live a Sattvic life. People are not doing this. And so they are so gross. They cannot understand something which is right under their nose. They cannot understand these things. Okay, leaders are meant to guide. They're meant to guide society that this is the Vedas. Okay, so let's organize it that everyone should study, should read. This is what we teach in the school, or not school, Gurukul. Okay, and then they should check other leaders that they are doing this, leaders under them. And the various population are doing their Varna and Ashram and not cheating in the name of their Varna or Ashram. This is the knowledge that has to be imparted. Okay, so this is the role of the government. This is the role of the leader. They have to know these things. Okay. First of all, they should know their identity. In Gurukul, they are taught at age 7 and 8 what is their identity. A soul, we are soul, eternal servant of Krishna. But this modern civilization has so much fascination for the body. This body will die. We're looking so much, I'll give good health to the body, I'll beautify the body. This body will drop dead after all. I, so much worried about health, and of course we'll worry about health because with my body I do bhakti. But excessive attachment, excessive care for this body it's not intelligent, because Bhagavad-gita says, Antavanta ime deha nityasyukta sharirina. This body is temporary. Antavanta. Antavanta means it has a beginning and end. Antavanta ime deha. This body is temporary. However, nityasyukta sharirina, but the sharirina, the one inside the body, in the sharir, he is eternal. Shouldn't we focus on the eternal part, on the soul, rather than the body? Because the body will finish off. Everything will go back to zero at death. So why should we pay so much attention to it? So this fascination for the body has become too much now in Kali Yuga. Extremely. People are very much on this bodily platform. So much endeavor for family, society, country, and these things. And eventually, that relation will end in death. That relation is not permanent. The relation to Krishna is eternal. That relation we should cultivate. All other relations are temporary. They will not last. So it's not intelligent. People identify as Hindu, Muslim, American, African, all these different designations. But these are illusory, temporary designations. They're temporary, they're illusory. Okay, so they'll change also. We should identify with the proper part, proper identity. Now here there's another verse given in Srimad-Bhagavatam regarding identifying with the body. Okay, this is Srimad-Bhagavatam 10.84.13. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke swadhi kalatradishu bhauma ijyadhi yatirtha buddhe shalile nakarhichit janeshu abhigneshu saeva gokhara. Translation. One who identifies his self as the inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or land of his birth is worshipable, also who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, the 10th canto, which is supposed to be, you can say, the most important part. It's all important, but Krishna Leela is in the 10th canto. So there it says that Yasyatma buddhi kunape tri dhatuke. Atma, one who sees himself as kunape tri dhatuke. The three dhatus means kapha, vata, pitta. So this body compiled of mucus, bile, and air. One who identifies himself as this inert body, and swadhi kalatradishu bhaumajyadi, and who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, and who thinks the an earthen image or land of his birth is worshipable. That means bhaumajyadi, one who glorifies, like, I'm born in Punjab, all glories to Punjab. Punjab is great, I have to go there. Or I am born in Assam, like that. So if someone thinks in this way, and some other points it's given, such a person is no better than cow or ass. And Prabhupada explained why. He says, because a cow cannot understand I'm a soul. He thinks I'm a cow. And a dog, an ass, as a donkey, some kind of donkey. He also thinks I'm an ass, I'm an ass. And when he's dying, he's thinking I'm an ass. Humans should not be like that. We are given high intelligence to cultivate knowledge. So we'll understand I am a soul. I'm not a human. I'm not Indian. I'm not anybody particular mundane religion, gender, race, or nationality. No, I'm eternal servant of God. I'm an eternal soul. So this is what they have to think. This is what people are supposed to think. But they don't. They identify as the inert body. Inert. Inert means the body is actually inert. It has no life. It is lifeless. It is dead. It's only that we are there, we are moving it around. So what is the value of this body? If I have a pencil, it will only work if I pick it up and write, otherwise it won't work. So that's not a thing of value. This body is not conscious. It's not having any life of its own. We are using it. It is inert. So we should not think we are the body. Okay, and it says here, this is Bhagavatam, 10th canto, Swadhi Kalatra Deshu Bhoma Ijyati. Okay, who assumes his community, family, society, wife, etc. They think that, like someone thinks, okay, I am from a Kshatriya family. So these are my people. This is my community, Kshatriya community. Or he's thinking that I am from France. So French people are my community. These are my people. I belong here. No, it's not like that. Next life, where will you be? Which state, which country? Land of his, he assumes that the land of his birth is worshipable. And then if someone thinks that this place is so special, he's born there, then he's glorifying that land. I was born here, I grew up here. No, actually, that is not the object of worship. Object of worship is God, Krishna. Or if you're going to worship any land, worship Krishna's land. So this verse is exposing somebody who is on this level. And it's saying that such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. We are required to rise above these things. Okay, now, if we look at the verse today that we under discussion, okay, in fact, I'll just share the screen again. So if we look at this verse under discussion, it's saying here, as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up old and useless ones. This simple thing, people do not know. They don't understand the change of body. And therefore, we have such elaborate funeral ceremonies where people are in great depression. That is it. He's gone. He's gone. They can't understand. Even now, a common person in India understands about the soul, maybe not like before, but at some level. So this body is like a garment. At night, we'll change our clothes. We wear another cloth. And we lament, oh, what happened to my other cloth? Oh my God, I took out that cloth. Or if it becomes worn out, that cloth, you throw it away. Then do we lament, my God, what happened to my cloth? What will I do? I was with that cloth, I was wearing it, now it's not with me. How will I live? How will I pass the day without that cloth? We don't think like that because we understand this cloth has nothing to do with me. It's just a cover on the body. And anyway, I have another cover now. So one who becomes intelligent by reading Gita and realizing this knowledge, he will understand that this body is simply a covering, which is at some point it will go, and let it go. Okay, and there's no need to lament if we, of course, there'll be some lamentation for close members, but we should quickly come to the proper platform. Just like Arjuna's son, when he died, Abhimanyu. So Arjuna lamented for some extent. Then he continued fighting because the philosophy came to him again. He understood that, okay, this is temporary. I shouldn't lament about these things. So in the same way, we should understand this point and we should live our life on the spiritual platform, not on this bodily platform. Change of body by the atomic soul is an accepted fact. In Vedic society, they understand these things, but modern scientists do not believe it. Okay, they base everything on what they can see, sense perception. Definitely, you cannot see every single thing, but somehow it's come to be that scientists are using only their senses to judge scientific things. But Vedas was not like that. It was based on the Vedas. Like we know that cow dung, cow urine are pure. And we know that scientific fact. Why? It's in the Vedas. We accept it. And it says why, gives the reason. Ganga resides in the urine and Lakshmi resides in the dung. So these topics about the soul, which is meant to be elementary beginning knowledge, is not there at all in the modern society. This was basic knowledge in the Vedic age, Gurukul level. Okay, so now, why did Krishna tell Arjuna this point? As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul accepts new material bodies, giving up old and useless ones. He's explaining him that as well, everyone arrayed on the battlefield now, here, Arjuna is advised not to lament for the body changes of his old grandfather and his teacher. They have old bodies. Now they'll get new bodies. He should be happy to kill their bodies in a righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various body activities. This is a very high level of thinking and discourse. People cannot think like this now on this level about people changing they're changing their body, they're going to have new bodies. People aren't saying that. Okay, but it's a very high level. Bhagavad-gita is high. This Vedic culture and knowledge is higher thinking and should be simple living. Okay, now look at this last sentence. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So, sacrificial altar. So here it's sacrifice means yajna, means anything done for Vishnu. So in the course of serving Vishnu, if one loses his life, but doing his varna and doing his varna and ashram duties, so they become cleansed of bodily reactions. Then they go to the higher planets. Okay, so like if Arjun fought this war, doing his Kshatriya dharma duty properly, then he'll be promoted to the sun planet. That's where Kshatriyas go who fight properly, whether they lose or win. But if they're following their dharma as a Kshatriya, of maintaining, acting for the pleasure of Vishnu through their varna duty, then they go to a higher status of life. They go to the sun planet. So there's no need to lament. And this knowledge, Krishna is telling Arjuna that he'll get a new body. Whoever you kill will get new bodies. Why are you lamenting? Who laments? Shochati iti Shudra. Shudra is the person who laments too much about material things and situations. So that's one quality. But Brahminical quality is samodama tapa shocham. Sama means controlled mind. Dhamma means controlled senses. He lives controlled, in a controlled way. He understands this material world has going to be a lot of ups and downs. So he's not letting it affect him because he understands as happiness came, it will go. As sadness came, it will go. So in the proper discharge of my duty, I don't have to look at these things. I should just discharge my duty. And what is the duty? That is his duty in Varnashram, or duty could be what the Guru has given us to do after we take Diksha, or who has not taken Diksha, then what Prabhupada has ordered. We simply do our duty. And changes will come. There'll be all kind of situations all around us taking place. But we don't have to be so disturbed by these things, surrounding things. Material world is like a Bhavasagar, ocean. In ocean, sometimes a huge wave will come, then another will come, and it's difficult for a ship to sail. But we should remember our target. Our target is Vishnu, lotus feet of Vishnu. Svardgatim, the best destination for us is Vishnu. So people who don't know that, Nathe Svardgatim, Nathe Vidu Svardgatim Vishnu, they don't know, then they'll suffer. Okay, but we'll study Bhagavad-gita, we'll understand. And through understanding our identity as a soul, eternal servant of Krishna, we will carry on our life and our duties and live on that platform. That is called proper human civilization, not on the body platform. We can never satisfy the body and the senses. How much will we do it? We can never satisfy any person. You want to try and satisfy a king or your leader or your political person or whoever, you cannot. But you can but Krishna becomes very satisfied with so much little endeavor you do. He's so satisfied. So let us live on the spiritual platform, serving Krishna, carrying out his duties. Okay. So, okay, Hare Krishna. Does anyone have any question about this point? Next few verses are going to be on this topic of the soul, because it's Sankhya. Krishna's explaining Arjun in detail about the soul. Yeah, Chindakesh, you have a question? But I can't hear anything here.
No.
I just saw your mic is unmuted, so I thought. Okay, maybe not.
No questions.